Hi everyone! Today we are looking at the very first children's adult colouring book from Hanna Karlzon. So we all know Hanna Karlzon as a wonderful, very talented adult colouring book illustrator, and this is her first dip into the children's colouring book sector. But that is not to say that this book is only for children, because it definitely has a lot of appeal to us adult colourists as well. It is Hanna's basic style, but a little bit simpler and a little bit sort of printed a bit larger, so children don't have to struggle with tight spaces. And that's great for me, especially because it's great to have big areas that we can blend in and really experiment with different mediums, rather than having to have something very sharp like a sharp pencil or a fine liner. So the book is totally different size and shape to her standard books. So this one it's 19 centimetres. I should do it in inches, shouldn't I, for the Americans? It's 7.5 inches by 9 inches. So what did I say that was in cm? 19 by about 23. So different size completely. It is a lot thinner, so there's not as many pages or illustrations in this book as you would usually find in a Hanna Karlzon book. It's got some lovely gold foiling dots on the front, so there is a little bit of pizzazz there despite it being a children's colouring book. It's still been made with a lot of love and care. And this one is published by Gibbs Smith. So we open up, and to me this paper does feel the same as the standard Hanna Karlzon book paper. It is slightly cream, so it's not white, and it does have the same sort of texture and tooth to it that a standard Hanna Karlzon book does have. I can't say for certain that it is exact same paper, but it feels to me very similar. Quite thick, fairly smooth, but there is tooth on there and you can blend. I will show you later on the page that I coloured. So we've got all of our copyright information on this side, and then we've got a book belongs to page with a beautiful cupcake with a big donut splattered on top and it looks like something I would love to eat, but unfortunately I'm on a very bland diet for the foreseeable future, so there's no donuts in the foreseeable for me. But yeah, so you can see it's Hanna's style, obviously, completely what we're used to seeing from her, but just a little bit bigger. The lines are thicker as well, and obviously the subject matter is geared probably slightly more towards children, but then again it's a lot of things that we have seen time and time again in standard Hanna Karlzon books. You know, we've got lots of cakes and food and sweets and things, we've got people and animals, so really it is just another Hanna Karlzon book for me. It's just not as big and the illustrations aren't quite as detailed. So you can see even with these illustrations there is a lot to colour, and it's definitely not been dumbed down as such for children. We've still got the Hanna Karlzon style. Now this is a double page spread of just some random sweets on their own, and this could be something that you colour one a day, something like that, something that you colour as a small vignette just to have a little bit of colouring in your day and not have to work on something major, like a big landscape page or anything like that. Then we've got this cat who is definitely got the cream. He's got all of the cupcakes, and again it's giving you that scope for doing fur, but on a bit of a larger scale, so you've got a lot more room to play with. And you can also use things like paint, because you can see, look at these big gaps on the feathers of this bird here. Definitely you could use paint, you could use pastel pencils. You've got that space to experiment. Love the cakes that Hanna designs. I would love to have them in real life. Some really fun illustrations, again just appealing to adults and children alike, and very similar to what we've seen in Hanna's sort of recent work, like in the Midnight's Masquerading book. Is it called? Yeah, and City Among the Stars. I always forget the titles, but these do remind me of her more recent work rather than, say, from her original books like Dag Drama and Summer Nights. So we've got another little animal here. We've got a little dog surrounded by what look to me like sunflowers, and a couple of mice just hanging from party streamers. And we've got a rabbit blowing out the candles on the cake, Lots and lots of cake to colour in this book if you're a fan. A couple of little ducks hanging some bunting. And Hanna's very kind of famous for her very close-up portraits, and there's a couple of those in this book, as you can see. Really, again, to me it's just another Hanna book, and there's nothing differentiating it apart from it being simpler. So I really enjoyed colouring the page that I coloured. Lots of different cupcakes. Again, if you wanted to colour something maybe just over the course of a day or two, just grab one of these cupcakes and you'll have that feeling of achievement that you've coloured something. So we've got lots of balloons to colour. You can practice getting them looking quite realistic. And another slice of cake. This is the first colouring book for children that Hanna's brought out, but there is also a second that's called Space, and I believe it's recently been released in America, but over here in the UK the release date keeps moving. It did say it was going to be released here last week, and then the date moved to August, so who knows, but I will definitely be getting that book. Again, it is space themed, obviously, and it is very much like this one in the images that I've seen. Quite simple, but still plenty to colour. Couple of unicorns with the bunting between them. Lots of love and sparkle going on in this illustration. And we've got, I think these are rats actually. They look more like rats than mice, and they're having a sneaky little drink of this, whatever it is, sangria, let's say. And we've got an owl, again, something that you've probably seen Hanna draw in previous books. This is cute. It's like a little fly or bee or some kind of insect, and it's just landed on these raspberries, blackberries, whatever you want them to be. Or is it bringing them? I guess it's bringing them. It must be part of this big celebration that's happening. It's gathered all the berries ready to put into the drinks. And little circular motif here made of cakes and sweets and presents and fruit. Another person illustration. Now this has got lots of lines on it because I pressed quite hard on the page that I did later on in the book, but you can easily erase those. Should have really gone through the book and done that. You can erase them and it won't make any difference to the illustration whatsoever. It's just because I've pressed hard on the one I was colouring, and you can see it comes off fairly easily with an eraser. But yeah, so you can just go through your book and do that if that same thing happens to you. Often I put a piece of blank paper, just normal copy paper, between the pages that precede the one that I'm working on, just so we don't have this problem. But yeah, it rubs out quite easily. I'll go back and do the rest later. A couple of jars of candy and another, like I said, portrait close up. And here is the one that I did. So you can see why we had that ink imprint. It was the very next page. And I really had fun colouring this. Let me just get it out of the glare. So this is a tortoise, and he is made up of a mint chocolate chip ice cream and a strawberry ice cream shell. So I decided to go with a couple of different types of ice cream that you don't usually see coloured. Obviously you get your Neapolitan, your vanilla. I wanted to go with something a bit different, so I made this ice cream to be like a strawberry or a raspberry flavoured ice cream with little bits of maybe sugared strawberries inside the ice cream. And mint choc chip is one of my favourite flavours, so that had to go on there. I also did a chocolate sauce and a butterscotch sauce. And what else? So yeah, for the skin of the tortoise, I've actually put a tutorial up. It's only a pictorial one, and it just shows you three very simple steps of how to get this tortoise skin using just 3 pencils. So I'll put that up on the screen and you can pause it and have a look at it, but if it's not big enough you can always go on my Instagram or my Facebook, and it's been posted there as well. So I use Prismacolor and Luminance for this illustration. And yeah, like I said, really enjoyed colouring it. It only took sort of an evening to do it. So yeah, pleased. And like I said earlier, the paper, though it feels smooth to the touch, definitely has scope for layering your coloured pencils. Just look how beautifully these have all blended together. You can tell on the rainbow. It's really nice paper. So moving on, we have got another rat or mouse. I think it's a rat. Just adding the finishing touches onto this cake and the ice cream sundae. and another page that just has these little motifs that you can just pick and choose one from. We've got a cornetto, some ice lollies, twister lollies, and a Mr. Whippy as well. And then the final page is this gumball machine with a cute little hamster. I think it's a hamster. I'm not very good at identifying rodents. Just pinching some of the gumballs out of the machine. You can imagine this being a really colourful page. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going on, but that is it. It's, like I said, quite a thin book. Couldn't tell you exactly how many pages it's got, but you've seen all of them anyway. And I think if you're a Hanna Karlzon fan, you're going to love this, despite it being marketed towards children. It's fantastic, and I will definitely be colouring more from it. And hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on the space book as well and colour some things out of that one. So colouring books for kids are not just for kids, they're for us as well. And I hope you've enjoyed watching this. There will be a link in the description of where you can go ahead and get yourself a copy on Amazon. And all that's left to say is, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.